Our love story is no ordinary story, but a story of young love, lost love, and a love that's been found and reignited almost 2 decades later. It was 17 years ago when Nadia and I first found each other. Nadia was 17, senior in high school, and working at a local farm fresh. I was 22, serving in the Navy and stationed in Norfolk. My daily routine included going to the gym after work and a stop at the market for a post-workout hors d'oeuvre, canned tuna. This regular routine of mine quickly became the best part of my day and eventually the beginning of enduring love. To begin with, I have to admit that although I've always thought about Nadia, I never thought I would be writing the story of us that ends with us reuniting. But even though both Nadia and I had moved on with our lives, for over 17 years neither one of us could completely let the other go. That is until one fateful day in February 2010, when I received a call from Nadia that forever changed my life. As I already mentioned, Nadia and I met in early spring 1994 during one of my usual stops at the grocery store. On this particular day, however, there was nothing ordinary about this grocery run, as I stood face to face with the most beautiful girl I have ever seen, and one that, unbeknown to me, would forever alter the course of my life. At that moment, though, any confidence I had was about to go out the window. After selecting my items, I made my way to the checkout stand where I saw her for the first time. There were several patrons in front of me, allowing me to stare at her without being caught. As I got closer to her, I became very nervous and started looking for a way out, an escape to a different register. When it was my turn, she confidently said a few words while all I could do was stare, swallow big, and grin. Somehow, I couldn't manage to utter a word. Every time I picked something up at the store, I would look to see which register she was working just to see her. I remember saying to myself, today is the day I'm going to ask her out. But when she looked me in the eyes, I froze every time, giving her that deer-in-the-headlights look. This occurred more times than I would like to admit, but eventually I made the bold move. When I finally made up my mind that I was going to ask her out, it didn't quite happen the way I imagined. Now at her register and about to ask her, she looked at me and said 3 most beautiful words, "Oh, you again," but with a smile. Given that response, I assumed that there was no way she'd agree to go out with me, and so I left the store. Sitting in the parking lot, I realized that I couldn't drive away just like that. So I decided to try a different method of asking her out, one that would prevent me from freezing up. So right there in the parking lot, I wrote down my phone number, walked back into the store, gave her my number, and immediately left without a word. Asking a beautiful girl on a date is never easy. Asking Nadia out was probably one of the more challenging things I had to do. Thanks to Nadia's willingness to give me a chance, mine regaining composure and the ability to speak helped too. We not only had our first date, but we've developed a love that I had never known before or since. A love that I couldn't forget for 17 years. Our story would not be the same without Nadia's brother, Andre. Although at times a little frustrating, every time Nadia and I'd lock a door for some privacy, Andre would quietly and persistently knock on the door, going, "Guys, what are you doing? Mark, let's go to the gym." Andre quickly became my constant workout companion, my friend, and my partner in crime. When Nadia was graduating high school, Andre and I decided to make her a large banner. Our final product for the ceremony was a huge misspelled "congratulations." I hope it's because we ran out of room. Andre was always supportive of me and Nadia. Even though he may not be physically with us, I'm certain he had something to do with why we are here today. Now comes the most difficult part of the story. Although this part may be the most difficult to write, it is partially why we are standing here today. In August 1994, I left the Navy and was moving back to Oklahoma. Although this reality was difficult for us to grapple with, all the promises I made to Nadia and didn't keep made everything much, much worse for her, and eventually, once I've realized what I've done, for me. Unfortunately, by the time I came to realize this, it was too late. I had broken Nadia's heart, disappointed her family, and she wanted nothing to do with me. As time passed, I missed Nadia more than ever. Furthermore, any relationship I had was doomed from the start because I kept Nadia close to my heart and made sure they knew it. Despite all that occurred, I would lay awake wondering how or what I would say to her given the chance. Knowing that I didn't deserve it, her mother and Andre still made time for me when I called. In 2006, I decided to take a trip to Virginia Beach to see Nadia's mother. Shortly before that trip, I had learned of the shocking news that Andre had passed away. Although devastated by the news, I can't describe in words how wonderful that visit was. I saw Luba, who I used to bounce on my knee as a child. I saw a picture of Nadia wearing her army uniform. Seeing her after so many years left me speechless. All the pictures in her mother's living room confirmed what I always feared, that time had done its job. She was gone. I left that visit with no clue of what was going to happen a few years later. On Saturday morning in February 2010, the phone rang. Nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. After a short hello, a reply of, "This is Nadia Krieger," came through. I think I might have experienced a mild heart attack because for what seemed an eternity, I couldn't utter a word. I think she must have wondered what was going on as well, because she repeated her name and started telling me that she was from Virginia Beach. As soon as I regained my composure, and the second I opened my mouth to say something, without hesitation, 17 years of rehearsed speeches began with a simple, "I love you. I have always loved you." And that's when she hung up on me. Can't blame her for that. Later that evening, we spent over 5 hours on the phone, amazed at how much has changed in 17 years and how little has changed too. Soon after that, we agreed to meet, and I came to visit her in Tennessee, where she was separating from the Army. As you already know, hearing her voice was a huge surprise, but words can never describe adequately how it felt to see her after 17 years. I have included a small poem that I believe sums up our story. We thank you for allowing us to share our story and our new life together. Years ago I knew you, it seemed so long ago, when you were young and I was too, all those years ago. Yes, I left you that summer long ago. Thank God for second chances. We're here today looking at tomorrow. It must be said she never gave up on me throughout all those years. Now she must know from this day forward I'll never let her go. I miss the way it was, you, Andre, and I, but I love the new memories we'll make, you, Nicholas, and I.